we're from the English Language and Literature Academic Group. Both of us teach on the English language content enhancement program. I was formerly the coordinator, and Ho took over the coordinator's role 2 semesters, last semester. It really started off, well, our work with technology, ICT really started off as really not knowing what to do because of the sheer numbers of students coming in and the extra courses that we actually had to mount. So for those of you who appreciate a bit more structure, go ahead, next slide please. This is an overview of our presentation. I'm going to just share with you some background information about our program and why we actually started working with technology. What were some of our problems that we faced with the huge numbers of students coming to us, and the huge numbers of courses, the lack of expertise in the department, and not being able to hire enough people very quickly. Some of our solutions. And we're going to take you through the demonstration, and we hope that, as I said earlier, that technology will do the talking. We're going to show you some of the things that we've been working with and our students are currently experiencing. And we're going to talk about the challenges and benefits, because I think using ICT and working with technology is difficult. And it is very time-consuming. Okay, it's rewarding, I think, in many areas, but I think that we need to also decide for ourselves whether that time is actually worthwhile in investing. So it's something that I think would be a personal question for individual staff member, individual coordinators, and it really is dependent on your program as well. Okay? So let's start. As I shared with you, we both teach on the English Language Content Enhancement Program, or ELCE or LC for short. This is a content upgrading program, and for those of you who are not really familiar with the NIV structure, we do have teachers, graduate teachers who come to us who may not necessarily have the expertise in that particular subject area. So for English language, for example, we have both the PGDE primary and secondary programs. PGDE is the postgraduate diploma in education. So we have student teachers offering English as a curriculum subject. So they come to us for a year, and eventually they will go out to be English teachers both in primary and secondary school. They're all university graduates. Okay? Because of the shortfall in English language teachers in Singapore schools, MOE has cast its net a lot wider. And so the graduates that actually come to us have degrees in mass communication, sociology, psychology, law, music, the work. And so I think the main problem is how to train these group of teachers within a year to go out to schools to actually deliver the English language syllabus effectively. That's our main challenge. Okay? And so, because I think many of them don't have sufficient content knowledge to teach it. And so, based on a recommendation by our department as well as the English Language Curriculum Review Committee, we mounted this program called LC to help meet the needs of both schools as well as to prepare them for their curriculum studies, their CS courses, because they only have a year with us. Okay? Actually, with practicum, they only have about 6 months. 6 months with us. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, these are the 2 courses. Well, ELCE or LC comprises 3 courses. Okay? 2 courses done before their CS program, and the 3rd course is done in the 2nd year of teaching. So they'll leave us and do the 3rd course as in-service. Okay? Now, the 2 courses that the student teachers have to do with us is the 2 QUE courses. Okay? 502, 503 refers to the primary, and then 512, 513 refers to secondary. I won't bore you with the details, but if you actually look at this, it's a lot of things that we actually have to cover. Go ahead, the next slide, please. Well, the problem is that we have really limited time, okay? Because we're anxious to get on with the CS courses because we don't have a whole lot of time to do the methods courses. We only have the first 4 weeks of the July semester to complete these two courses and everything that you see at the back of this red box here. With increasing student numbers, last semester we were looking for at 24 tutorial groups. Okay, 11 for secondary and, no, 13 for secondary and 11 for primary. Okay, we have increasing student numbers, and of course, with the APT and increasing demands of faculty time, okay, because the professors know you need to publish, okay, you need to spend time on the publications. We have a whole lot of other problems that's also attached to the APT and the increasing demands on the kinds of things that we need to do in the department. We really found that we lacked lecturers and tutors to be able to teach on this course. Also expertise as well. Okay? You'll notice that for 503, 513 it's grammar, and not many people can teach grammar or want to teach grammar. So that was our problem there. Okay? So the traditional mode of delivery where you had next lectures, face-to-face tutorials, simply didn't work. You can't really teach English grammar to a tutorial of 300, 400, to a lecture theatre of 300, 400 students. It really doesn't work. It really needed that kind of individual attention where students could ask questions, could clarify certain things. Okay? So what we thought of was to actually just take the plunge, okay, and we decided to incorporate some ICT components into the program. So some online learning to actually help us, well, largely meet the manpower needs, okay, and to actually extend learning time for our students. So we opted for a blended approach. Okay. So could I have the next slide? Okay. So let me just give you two examples. Okay. And this was actually these examples are actually have actually been tweaked for about 2 or 3 semesters already. So it originally didn't look like this. Okay. So let's say, for example, QCE 520, which is the PGDE primary course. Okay. Part 1 and Part 2 for linguistic and language theory issues in language education, we actually have face-to-face lectures, okay, where the students come en masse and our colleagues, okay, actually teach them. Okay. Part 3 is children's literature, okay, because we really don't have the expertise, and the colleague who is actually teaching on this part of the course is really stretched because she teaches a lot of methods course in PGDE primary, in DIP Ed as well. She's very stretched. So we actually opted for half face-to-face and half online, which I'll show you in a while. Okay? And for the assignment, because we're looking at lots and lots of students that we actually have to mark assignments for. It's a compulsory course, but it's pass-fail. So we actually don't have to assign a mark. We give the assignment, we assess, and it's pass-fail. So that was something that we actually thought very hard about. Do we actually need to invest more time in the teaching and the delivery of the content, or to have a whole lot of people actually sitting down for days and weeks marking the assignment? So that was something that we actually had to consider. Okay. Now the second course that we were looking at was, or rather is the other course, and the example here is the secondary course, where we, for part 1, well, it actually comprises 2 parts. The grammar portion and the text in context portion. Okay? Text in context is just raising awareness about text and how the grammar actually works in these texts that we find in school, in everyday life. So for the grammar, we opted for some face-to-face lectures and online learning as well. Okay? For text in context, we decided to just go for it, and it's now completely online. It wasn't because we wanted to be brave with the technology and wanted to do it, but just simply we didn't have enough people people to be able to teach them. Okay, and also if you're looking at 24 tutorial groups, we're thinking about room, space constraints, and a whole lot of other things as well. Okay, and for the assessment, they are both face-to-face. For formal, a pre-test and post-test, which is simple, which is formal, and informal assessment came in the form of interactive quizzes. CITD produced software, and we also use hot potatoes as well to just get the kids to try out the quizzes. Okay. So as I said, I'm going to just let the technology do the talking now. So I'm going to just show, Paul and I will just demonstrate and show you some of the things that actually we've used. We will start with QC502 children's lit. Okay. I need to get this out. I'll just exit here. This was produced 2.5 years ago. So you notice that the technology is quite primitive. I think in technology terms, 1 year is considered old, already 2 years is considered primitive. So you just bear with us. But this was my first experimentation with PowerPoint, and I discovered that PowerPoint could be converted into flashlights using, at that time we had Empatica and we had MS Producer. Okay? And I gave Sally a lot of pain because I think at one stage we didn't have a license for one or the other. Okay? And so I'll just show you this portion of it. So this is what the student teachers will see when they enter the Blackboard site. And this part of the course is completely online. My colleague Siu Kun does the face-to-face lectures for the children's lit. Okay? It's divided into 3 portions. We went to school to interview a master teacher. Initially, we wanted to actually stream the audio online. But Madam Yu is this very enthusiastic teacher who is not only interested in children's literature, she's interested in everything else. And so it was very difficult to edit her audio because my secondary school teacher would say she had no thesis statement. So it was very difficult to actually find clips that we could use. So eventually what we did was we transcribed her interview and we PDF'd it and we put it up. So that's not really using technology, is it? Well, maybe it is. Okay. So Madam Yu's interview, Madam Yu's interview is just done in PDF and it's here. Okay, as I said, initially we wanted to actually upload the audio. Okay, so that's Madam Yu. Okay, now and she has lots of other materials here that that students will find useful. The worksheets which she used because she was very interested in literature circles in the primary school, and so she actually shared all these various resources with us. So we actually uploaded it for the students to actually have a look. And of course, every section of this particular online course comes with questions for reflection. Now, the other thing which I think you probably find useful was Siu Kun and I, my colleague and I, went to NLD and we interviewed 2 senior librarians because they are the people that actually deal with the masses. They buy books, they know what's current, they deal with publishers, and we thought that our student teachers would find these bits of information useful. Okay? These 2 librarians were really good, and they were actually really focused because we learned our lesson from Madam Yu, and so when we actually went to NLD, we gave them a list of 20 questions and told them that they had to stick to the questions because we really wanted to upload the audio. Okay? And so what we eventually did was to actually narrow it down to 3 things, three areas that we thought that our student teachers, PGB primary teachers, would find useful. Basically finding out about the boring trends. Okay? And of course they would probably be interested in some reputable publishers, some selection criteria, and of course I think the importance to move beyond the classics because they tell us that primary school teachers are very obsessed. Some primary school teachers and parents are very obsessed with the classics, and kids don't like the classics. Okay, so I'll just play one. Okay, maybe the one with my voice.
there are a lot of books out there. And you actually walk into a popular bookstore, there's an entire range, and I don't think that all of it is very good.
How would you advise teachers?
The library, to be very frank, carries all the reputable publishers and authors, as well as the kind of materials you would find in the library tend to be of good quality because you have a budget and you have to work with. You just don't buy anything that's out there.
Okay, I'm just going to forward this, and so it just goes, the audio goes on, and then you have, then we have the reflective questions at the end. I showed this to Paul, and he said, why is it that when you click on slide 2, there's no more audio? And I told him, because 2.5 years ago, I didn't know that you could actually crop the audio. And so the entire clip was actually attached to slide 1. Okay, and I let the slide run. And so that was one of the problems because the students said, I just wanted to hear slide 2 and there's no audio. And I said, I'm very sorry because I don't know my technology very well, so you have to click on slide 1 and listen to the whole thing. 2.5 years later, I'm a bit better at the technology. Okay, of course with CIP's help. Okay, and so this would be text and context, right? Okay, no, this is the children's list. Okay, now podcasts. Now, I talked about the assignment earlier. So what the students had to work on was, this was a 2008 batch. We wanted something really current, and we wanted them to actually work on something that was covered in the lectures, okay, for them to actually apply the theory. And so at that time, the minister came out, I think it was after one of the work plan seminar, and talked about how, our choice of English 30, 40, 50 years ago was actually quite an accident in the history, and actually we benefited from it later on. So that was part of the article, and what the students had to do was to respond to this bit of the article. Okay, what they had to do was to write a script. Okay, choose any one of the issues, okay, that was raised by the minister, and then record a short speech. Okay, and the speech should be written in light of what they gathered from the lecture. Okay, and it shouldn't be 3 minutes. 3 minutes. I don't know why we chose 3 minutes, but we're looking at like marking a couple of thousand podcasts, right? And so we didn't want something that was too long, and we wanted students to be able to be succinct in their arguments as well. And at the end of the day, we didn't want it to be too demanding. It had to be demanding enough, but not too demanding, because that course was a pass-fail course. It was a requirement by MOE for them to do the course. So let me just play the. This is not representative of all the podcasts that we get. Okay, this was the best one.
It's about 3 p.m. and you're listening to Power 98. This is Paul giving you company on Chatbox, the show where you can talk about anything related to language in Singapore. Now, I just want to start the show by addressing an issue that has come up recently. As many people know, it has been reported by Minister of Education, Dr. Hin, that many Singaporeans these days who have the knowledge of English are being targeted by MNC headhunters. Now, many of you have written into the show questioning why this is so. What is the big deal about English that makes Singaporeans so attractive to MNCs? Now, I feel that the reason is pretty simple. It is because English is an international language. I think you and I can both agree that English dominates several important global areas. These include mass media, business, international relations, international travel, as well as communications, right? In fact, the use of English is prevalent across several political and intellectual arenas. Now, this of course has several implications for
Can I just stop here? Yeah. Paul gave me permission to use this. Before joining teaching, he used to be a part-time DJ. And he actually freelances as an events an events person. So okay, so as I said, it's the best one. But I think we have had actually quite a number of very good podcasts through the years. Okay, so this was our assessment for this particular portion of the course. Okay? Now I'm going to just let Paul now take over the floor. And he's going to run through the other course, okay, and some of the things that we've done. Yes,
I have a
Chia.
question.
Sure.
Did you have any kind of rubric to assess the podcast?
Yes, we did. I could share it with you.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Because we're students here, I can show you the rubric. It's okay now. You can stay put. Okay. Are there any other questions before I let Paul show you the slightly more advanced things which we've done? Okay.
Okay, actually it's the brainchild, what I'm going to show you is the brainchild of Alexius. He actually developed the material with lots of help from CITE, and members of the CITE. So I don't know whether you get more requests after this.
We are happy.
Okay. So I'm going to show you some features of the online learning for the grammar component. And then I'm going to show you next text in context. And I'm not going to cover this because it's the same as what Alex showed you just now. So let's go into part 1, the grammar component. Okay, this is the so-called the content page. So you have one this part, they are the grammar exercises, practice that the students can use, like interactive, and then these are more of them here, but they're different types. And then this is the grammar online lectures. What I'm going to show is that usually, we only have 10 hours. 10 hours to deliver all the tutorials on grammar. So what they do is that students, teachers are required to, first of all, go through the grammar online lectures first, and then attend the face-to-face tutorials. So I'm going to show you some features of the grammar online lectures. Okay, let's look at block 2. Yes, now the lecture.
Welcome to QUE 503 and QUE 513, Lecture 3. Today, we'll talk about nouns. We've already seen what nouns do. In this lecture, we'll look at other aspects of nouns, how we can classify or analyze them, and what grammatical properties they have. First, we'll look at proper nouns and common nouns. Next, we'll talk about abstract nouns and concrete nouns, and countable and uncountable nouns. Then, we'll have a look at collective nouns. Along the way, we'll also discuss the grammatical properties of nouns. For example, we'll see whether they take articles and whether they take singular or plural verbs.
Okay.
First, today, we'll talk about nouns.
Good night. Stop talking.
I need to show the features.
Welcome to QUE
I want to show you this
503 and
feature, the
QUE
transcript.
513, Lecture 3.
Shut that up.
Yeah, okay. So this is exactly what was said. Okay, but some of us or some students, teachers, they do not like to listen, for a sustained, for a long period of time. So they may want to refer this, refer this for the explanation. So that's the transcript. Okay, and let's go back to the content page. Okay, and then we have this one, just like I mentioned, we have actually a total of 5 tutorials, and each one 2 hours, so 10 hours, so 5 tutorials. And then the lecture handouts are, also here. Maybe Alex, you want to show now?
Excuse me, Paul. Were the online lectures commercially produced?
Commercially produced?
No, it's
It's done, produced in-house.
In-house?
Yes. Okay, Alex, you want to explain the process?
Well, what we first did was to work with CITE. I sent Fatima an email. She came like 2 hours after and said, okay, let's do this. And so basically that started the process of working on this. Now, why we wanted to do this because one, I didn't like the sound of my voice. I had seen some of the things that CITE did and I just didn't want to do recording. And so what was suggested was to actually have somebody with a nice voice who speaks very well and do it. But the problem is that our colleagues are really, really busy. And if you actually want to do editing, then you have to then drag the person to re-record certain things. And so my head Rupna suggested that we explore text-to-speech because she was aware that AT&T had this free text-to-speech software which you could download. And so what I did was I did some exploration. I spoke to Fatima, I spoke to CK who has left us, and we decided that that would work. So what basically we did was to, on my part, prepare the PowerPoint slides, decide how it was going to unfold, and then I provided the script as well. And then I sent it to CITE, and CK worked on this. What he did was he actually converted my script into speech using the software, and then he took my PowerPoint, converted it into Flash, and then he packaged the whole thing together. How he did it, I have no idea. But if you just want to have a look at it, this was what I sent him. I sent him my PowerPoint slides. Okay, this is the text in context which I worked with, and it just ran like that. Okay, and I decided how I wanted it done. Okay, and in order to be clear how I wanted it done, because you do understand that these are technologists, okay, and so you really have to work together to make sure that everything will come out the way you want it. I sent my script for text in context, which is slide 1. Can you identify an animal? And then I would like a 5-second pause, and I would like to animate the word no. Okay, and so this was what I sent to CITE. Okay, so what he did was he actually just copied the blank portions, put it into the text-to-speech, and then he converted it into speech. All because I just didn't want my voice heard. so they had to go through all this. But in retrospect, I thought it was good because I didn't have to sit down with my recorder and re-record all with Audacity and do the recording. All I had to do was, if I made a mistake, I'll just send him that particular portion of the text. We'll just put it through the software, and then I don't know how they do it. Magically, they put it into the thing and exchange. Okay. Yeah. Well, the thing is that the people in CIT are really, really busy. Okay? But if they're not busy and have nothing to do, I think CK tells me that it's actually quite fast. They're actually quite fast to do. It's just that they have a lot of projects, so you really have to give them time, ample time. Okay? Because as I said, after today's sharing and Roxana sharing, everybody will want to do things, right? Yeah. Okay, so it's not, well, the thing is that because we didn't buy the license for it, so we are only allowed 300 characters every time we actually convert. But if more people use it,
we use the trial version, so if more people use it, we can buy it for them.
Yeah. Those of you who are interested in playing around with it, you just have to Google AT&T text-to-speech and type in whatever you want in that box, and then you just have to click convert, and then it actually reads out whatever you actually typed it in. Okay? And you can actually choose voices as well. Yeah. So this voice that you hear is Crystal, and Crystal, I was told, is the voice that is one of the voices in that movie WALL-E. Yeah. And eventually, you buy the software, you can actually buy voices as well. So you can have different voices as well.
They have other languages.
Yes, they do have other languages as well, I
We
think.
can check if Malay language. We check Malay.
Okay, I'm going to bring you back here. So, after going through the online lectures and attending tutorials, hopefully, all, if not the diligent student teachers, will then, try and test, what they have learned using some of these skills. So maybe let's try and let me try first.
Can you give me
And see what kind of response, and then you can look at the interactive elements.
Now, what's the answer?
You were wrong. Subject. Okay, so you have something like this. So you can create something like this. Okay. So and then the students can check their own progress as well. Maybe we want to look at another one from the other. Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay.
Okay, so this is correct. This is
Okay, let's go back to the So there are a variety actually of the types of exercise we create. So just now we look at using the we look at the ones here. So let's look at did you try? Did we show this one? Yeah. Okay, and this is quite interesting. Some of the activities here. This drop zone. That's wrong. That's a wrong answer. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. One more? What's the drop zone?
what the drop zone.
Okay, this is another one. Okay, so yeah, those are some of the features in the pedagogical grammar component. So let's take a look at text and context. So after they have learned, the grammar, pedagogical grammar, what they do is that this part of the component will enable them to understand how grammar is applied in context. So I'm going to share with you some features. Let's take a look at the one, hang on. Procedure.
Can you fold a t-shirt in 2 seconds?
Okay. What I want to share
If
with
you
you.
cannot, click here, and it will show you how.
That, yes. So you link you to yeah, a website.
We folded many t-shirts back then. Normally doesn't take so long.
These few days the internet is very slow.
Oh,
How to fold a t-shirt in 2 seconds. Explain. Hello and welcome to Videojug. You may have seen a film on the Videojug website.
okay. Let's look.
Hello and welcome to Videojug.
So, and then the next part.
Do you think you will be able to do it? Take a moment to think about the following questions. Was the goal clear? Were the instructions easy to follow? What features of the video made it effective? Click on the continue button when you're ready to move on.
Let's take a look at another text. Let's look at information text.
Can you identify this animal?
Okay. What I want to show is that, just now in the pedagogical grammar, there's no
No.
visuals, no images. So
Here's
here,
another clue.
we can actually use images and videos to show,
Did you get it?
Okay. And what I want to show next is on page 22.
Red panda. Did you notice? Let's discuss this. I'm sure you noticed that there are many linking verbs. Here are some of them. What do these linking verbs do?
So, you can actually do things on the text. Highlight certain parts that you want
Click on the
the
continue
students
button
just
when you are ready
to
to
pay
move on.
attention to. And then there's also the interactive element. So ask, the narrator asks questions and then provide a response.
As we
So
discussed in an
continue.
earlier module, linking verbs have several functions. One of which to help us identify things. Another is to link things and their attributes. Now, which of these verbs perform the first function, and which the second? Take some time to think about this.
Okay, so
Click
there's
on the
some.
continue button when you are ready to move on.
So there's interactive element. It's not just there. The pictures, the visuals are not just there. So there's some explanation as well. Yeah. Move on. The content page again. Just want to show. Okay. So let's look at, so they're all here, the different text type, and also provided here is, recommended resources and reading as well. So save the trouble of students, teacher asking for readings, and then you have to send individual reply to them. Okay, all right, I think that's all that we want to share from our online learning. What we want to do next is to look at the benefits. It was, sorry, just. So it helps us to extend learning time. So they are there, the students can access anytime, 24/7 as well. Because from our experience is that some students, teachers actually ask for more practice, etc., but we actually refer them, towards online. And well, this may be debatable. It sustains the interest of the ST because of its, the way it's been presented. Of course, we have feedback from students, teachers saying that the voice is boring because they keep hearing the same time over and over again. And I think the most crucial one is that it solves the problems of staff not being able to teach. So for the next semester, we have a colleague who is conducting 8 lectures, but she's not able to make it. She's not able to do that in the next semester. So we're in a way, we're sort of stranded.
This course.
Yeah. So how does it help us? We actually have visiting professors, who comes on AG, and then we actually invited them to do a recording of their lecture on specific topics, and this can be used not just in our program, but also used by the other programs and courses as well. So maybe we want to, let's just play a few to let you see. Those are the lectures that we recorded.
Here comes the topic very close to home. Singapore English characteristics. I hope you like it. And let's start with that Singapore English. I bet that when you think of Singapore English, you think of Singlish. When you think of British English, you think of Standard English. Right? If I'm wrong, I apologize. If I'm right and that's what you think, don't. Forget it. This way of thinking is part of the politicization of peoples and language. It's a colonial hang-up. Britain is no longer your colonial masters. We are not in a world where Britain is superior and Singapore is inferior. We're in a new world where people are equal.
Okay. Those are the videos, and we've come to the end of the sharing. We want to talk about the challenges that we face. First one, dealing with new technology and time spent on experimentation and development. I think Alex spent a lot of time just doing that, the online, developing the online resources. You want to tell them how many hours you put in?
Hundreds.
Okay. And the other challenge is motivating learners to use online platform. Now, because we have uploaded this on Blackboard, so we were able to sort of track the number of students that have accessed, whether they have actually gone through the module diligently. We do not know, but we sort of have statistics to show how many of them access it and how many times during the semester. Okay, but the results not so not so encouraging. So which is why I think it is a challenge to get them to try to learn online. So we've come to the end of the sharing. Thank you very much, and we'll be happy to take questions.
Alex, I'd like to ask about children's literature. Exactly what did you deliver online? On children's literature.
Oh, for children's literature,
Was it the interview?
it was the interviews, it was Madam Yu's work on literature circles, okay? The benefits, the problems, how she set up literature circles. We also have a section on internet resources as well, online stories, which the students can actually download, bring to school to use. I can show you the website.
How many hours did you have for children's literature?
For the online component, it's 6 hours.
And for
the
the
face-to-face 6 hours, because we only have one AU or 12 hours to deliver that component.
Thank you.
Can we experiment with Flash ourselves, or do we have to send materials to CIT? Or I don't know how it works. So is there a software, like Flash software, that we can use to turn our slides into
No, actually,
something?
CIT purchased Flash software, so we can help you to you can just send us the PowerPoint slides.
Okay.
How much I suggest you send it to them, because the children's lit portion of the interviews, I actually experimented it on my own, and it's just very, very time consuming, and a lot of problems with it. So I think you just send it to the experts.
All right.
Sheila.
Yes. Are these materials copyrighted, or how does it work?
Well, we tried as far as possible to make sure that we didn't upload anything that infringes copyright. So you notice
No,
that
I'm saying like what you created, is that who holds the copyright? That can other instructors use it if it fits their courses, or is it the AG or NIE or who?
I think NIE owns the
When
materials.
CIT does something for the lecturer, it belongs to NIE.
Okay. So what are the restrictions?
So if the lecturer don't mind sharing it within NIE, we can give it to the other instructors as well.
Because some of these things that were created, I think, are such great resources that it would be a shame if only one course, I mean, the grammar quizzes and all, those could be.
The grammar quizzes, I think some of our colleagues have used it. The professors, visiting professors, it's for everybody in the AG to use. It's just that we also need to figure out who uses what. Because we don't want a situation where somebody uses in year 1, and then year 4 somebody plays it and says, oh, we've done that in year 1 already. So that's something that we also need to figure out in terms of logistics. If you're sharing resources in an AG ELL we have about 70 of us. So that's something that we need to figure out. Yeah, but it's for everybody to use.
Yes.
Can I ask, with the podcast, the example you gave us was the student who delivered it in a very sort of radio way. Was that the intention for all the students, or they were left free to deliver it in whichever way they felt most comfortable?
Yes.
Okay.
We were more interested in the content and how they applied the theories and the issues that were covered in the lectures to this particular assignment. Any final questions? All right, then, thank you very much.
Giving this wonderful session.